What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video on rust repair. So this is going to be part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, go ahead and check it out. But so far we cut this piece out right here and we panel bonded a new piece in from the inside, and you guys can see it's all hardened up. And pushing on this inner panel here, it's there's no flex in the piece. The only thing that flexes is the whole actual quarter. So that's good news. It looks like we got a pretty solid repair there, and it's still curing somewhat. They want 24 hours. It's been about that, so I think we're ready to grind off the extra that's all on the body here, and we'll just leave the lower areas here, and then we'll maybe scuff it a little bit, and then I'll slap some filler on this, and then we can start shaping and try to match this body line and match the curvature and try to make it look good, so nobody even knows that we put a piece in here. That's the goal. But on the back, it looks pretty good as well. I'll see if I can show you guys up in here. But yeah, it is pretty panel bonded in there. It all hardened up really good, so it looks like we got a pretty good seal. Still have to prime it back there and then weld in an inner panel here so we can seal off the fender, but that'll come after. I mainly want to get this done and get some primer on here so the car's not immobilized, because right now I can't drive it because bare metal, don't want it to rust. So yeah, we're gonna get started grinding, and then we'll throw some filler on this thing. Alright guys, so I am actually breaking out the Bondo glass for this, and what this is Bondo with strands of fiberglass inside of it. So what that does is sort of reinforce it, and it's really good when you're working with rusted areas or areas that are like big, like large areas that you want to fill in, like deep areas, which this is not too deep, but there's some areas like right in here where I think it's going to be close to an 1/8 inch or maybe a little more of filler, and I would prefer not to have any shrink back or cracking or anything. So if you're gonna really go thicker with some body filler, Bondo glass is the right stuff to use, and it's really strong. So this is what I'm gonna put in there, and I'll show you guys that in one sec. So I got my Bondo glass all put in there. It's all hardened up. Still a little tacky, but it's pretty hard. And see, I tried to keep it kind of contained and keep the edges kind of fanned out, because it helps if you're not sanding through like one of these edges. If it was on the end here, it would be tough, but this won't be too bad. I'll probably hit this really quick with like some 40 grit just to take it down a little bit and take off the resin that's on top. It'll probably clog up the paper, and then I'll switch to some 80. And then I'll hit it with that, and then we'll see if we can get this shaped in. But yeah, you want to try to keep it small and contained. It's easy to work it out into too big of a section, but I did try to lay it on nice and thick here, so we'll have something to sand, because if you go too thin, then what's the point? You got to add some more. So always better to put more. You can always sand it off. So I just put another coat of the more lightweight filler on there, and I put a piece of tape here to try to mark off my body line so I'd stay away from it. But yeah, we'll see if I can block this out a little better. I really didn't like the way that it was blocking out before, so maybe I'll take a bigger block to it this time or something, but it was kind of blocking out really poorly before, in my opinion. I had like a little high spot here and all this stuff, so I don't like that. So hopefully hopefully we can get a little bit straighter this time. If not, we're gonna have to do some more coats, but it is what it is. We'll get it straight eventually. All right, so after, you know, letting that dry, you can see I held my nice edge here. I took this longer block right here with some 80 on it, and I kind of blocked into it. You want to use like long strokes that go with the body, and also like a cross pattern, like go like this, and then you also want to go this way too. It's kind of tough with this body line, and this bumper's in my way, and all this crap. It's like a multiple contour here. It goes down this way, and it's also like sloping from this way, so it's kind of, it meets right here, so it's kind of tough. I think this area might have a little bit more filler than it had from factory, but me running my hand over it, for the most part, it feels smooth. So like, while there is a little bit more filler in there than I would like, it feels smooth. So as long as, you know, it feels good to me, I think what we're gonna do is go ahead and block down with 180 now. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of guide coat on here, which I'll show you guys, then put some 180 sandpaper to it, and see if we can take out the 80 grit scratches with the 180 and smooth some of these edges out. And you got to be careful too, because while you're trying to sand the filler, you also can sand some paint, and you can actually create high spots by, you know, focusing right here and not realizing you're also sanding right here. And yeah, then this ends up being a high spot, everywhere else is low, but this feels pretty good. There's a couple of little areas here, that's what I was trying to sand out. But we'll see if we can get it out with the 180 without going through the metal, and then we should be nice and flat, hopefully. I guess we won't know until we prime, but may put a little bit of filler on this guy too. I don't think it needs it, but it might, so I might put a little. But yeah, we're looking good. It's definitely smooth, and it's looking much better than it did. So this is the guide coat I was talking about. This is a powder guide coat. So what you do is you put it on here like this, and it goes on really dark, and then once you actually start sanding everything off, you'll see that we can see our light filler underneath, and that's how you know where your high and low areas are. So I'll throw some 180 on there and show you guys how this starts to look once we're sanding it. So I think this is where I'm going to call it for tonight. I could prime it tonight, but it's getting pretty late, and I got to work tomorrow, Saturday. Probably won't get to work on it Saturday, but maybe Sunday morning I can do it. It's Mother's Day, but we can bang it out in the morning, hopefully. But yeah, I'm going to go post a video that I got, which is the actual first part of this. So hopefully you guys enjoy the first part and see the second part later. But it's looking pretty good. Bodywork looks good. I back taped all the edges here, so when we lay the plastic over it, it'll stick to all the edges, and then we just got to go through and retape and finalize some stuff, and then we can wipe it down with a tack cloth and shoot some primer on it. We'll go over the bondoed areas first, and then we'll go over the rest of it. Make sure we put a nice thickness of primer so we got something to sand through. Also going to tape off some more stuff down there, like the light bulb and you know, a few other things. But yeah, it's pretty much ready for paint, so that's going to be the next step. What is up? So it's been a couple of days. I haven't really got to work on the car that much because I've been busy, but today's not the optimal day to prime, but we are going to wing it and we'll see what happens. I got the heater going on because it's really cold here for spring. It's like 39 degrees or something like that. So I really want to resand these metal spots because, you know, they may have flash rusted while I let it sit, especially in these high humidity conditions. So I just want to make sure I go over everything really good, really quick, and then I'll blow it off and we can, you know, do the final tape job, and I want to lay the plastic over it. And I want to clean up this mess too because I work really messy. So I'm going to clean all this up so I don't go overspraying everything, lay down something for the ground, and you know, see if we can get some primer on this thing today because I got somebody else's car to work on tomorrow, so I got to get this thing out of the garage. So I at least want to seal up the outside. Inside's got some primer on it for now, so should be good. But yeah, I need to get primer on it. So I'm gonna get to work cleaning up and burning off some of the humidity in the air. It's like 70% in here, so we'll see if we can get it down with the heater. It seems like it's going up. It's now at 73, so that's probably not good. But yeah, anyway, we'll see what happens. Alright guys, so I got the humidity down to like 66% and it's now 70 degrees in here, so that's pretty hot. I'm sweating. But we're looking pretty good. We're all primed, or we're all taped up, ready to prime. I'm just gonna take like a Scotch-Brite and just go over the whole thing just to get rid of any flash rust, because you're really not supposed to use like a filler primer right over bare metal like this. You're supposed to do like an epoxy primer or like a self-etching primer. And a lot of people say this, a lot of people say that. You know what? I've done this before and it's always worked out fine for me. So I haven't really had any issues with that sort of thing. So, I mean, I'm sure if we have issues, we'll see it before I end up painting it, because the car's going to be primered for a while. So we should be all right. I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing. I'm sure somebody will tell me that that's wrong, and I'm sure it is, but I don't want to waste the epoxy primer or the time or, you know, all that stuff. So I think we're going to be good to go. But yeah, we're pretty well taped up. I do have a GoPro like head mount that's coming in, so I can mount you guys on my head while I do the spraying, and I think that'd be a pretty cool shot. But until then, I'll set you guys up on the tripod or whatever and you guys can watch. But I'm gonna go ahead and scuff this up, mix up some primer, and get this thing shot. Alright guys, so I got my respirator on and everything is just about all set. I did hit it with a little bit of a scuff. So all these areas should be hopefully free of rust and ready to prime. And Bodywork is feeling pretty good down here. So what I'm going to do is tack rag the whole thing, and I got a tack rag right here. And what this does is just take any of the dust that's on the surface off. So I'm going to hit it with the air gun and tack rag the whole thing, get it nice and clean. And then after that, we'll go ahead and put primer on the bare metal areas and the Bondo repairs first. A nice coat, and then we'll move on to everywhere else. So I'm going to go ahead and get started spraying.
Alright guys, so I'm pretty happy with the result. I think it came out looking really good. Everything looks pretty straight. Right here I think the plastic came up and it hit my primer, but it is what it is. We'll try to sand it out. But yeah, my body lines look pretty good here. Looking down it. It's hard to tell because it's not a gloss, but it looks pretty good. Just waiting for everything to air out. Yeah, I think our repair is going to hold up. Now we just got to start working on the inside.
So I just cleaned out the gun, and I think that this is going to cap it off for this video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. I did get a couple of pinholes while I was spraying in the first couple of coats, but I kind of laid it on really thick here so that I would have something to sand through, and I did end up burying some of those pinholes. They were like right here. But yeah, most of them did go away, so we should be good. Hopefully we have a good enough build. I only did 2 coats, but I went pretty thick. So we'll see. Hopefully I don't sand through anywhere, but that remains to be seen. We gotta get through priming the rest of the car, and then we'll be able to start blocking into this primer and seeing if we need to reprime some areas. But yeah, this is a long process, but I'm willing to put in the effort because, you know, it's gonna be pretty cool when it's all said and done. But this thing looks sweet. Looks really good. Gotta throw my taillight back in and stuff, but yeah, it's coming along. So thanks for watching, guys, and hopefully you enjoyed and maybe you learned something about rust repair. And stay tuned for the next part where we're gonna fabricate a panel to go on the inside to seal off the wheel well once again. So yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Subscribe if you want to see the next part, and yeah, peace out.